Captain Dua Kim stood at the command center of the Earth Space Station Sentinel, his eyes fixed on the massive display screen. The blue glow of Jupiter filled most of the view, its swirling storms creating a beautiful but eerie backdrop. His crew worked quietly at their stations, the only sounds being the soft beeping of instruments and the low hum of the station's systems. "Captain, I'm picking up strange energy readings near Jupiter's orbit," Hannah Lee called out from her science station. Her fingers flew across the holographic controls as she analyzed the data. "These patterns, they're unlike anything we've ever seen before." Duha walked over to her station, his movements smooth despite the zero-gravity environment. "Show me," he ordered, his voice calm but serious. The readings on her screen pulsed with an odd rhythm, nothing like the natural phenomena they usually monitored. Suddenly, the station's alarms began to blare. Red warning lights flashed throughout the command center, multiple objects emerging from what appears to be space-time distortions. Hannah reported, her eyes widening. "They're huge, Captain. Each one is at least the size of our largest aircraft carrier." The crew watched in amazement as massive ships appeared one after another. Their hulls gleamed with a metal that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. The ships moved with impossible grace for their size, arranging themselves in a perfect formation. 300 ships and counting, the tactical officer announced, his voice shaking slightly. "Sir, they're bigger than anything humanity has ever built." Before Duha could respond, every screen on the station flickered. A face appeared, humanoid but clearly alien, with silvery skin and eyes that seemed to shift color like oil on water. The alien spoke, its words automatically translated by the station's eye. "I am High Commander Rayan of the Galactic Concordat. Your world has been chosen for integration into our empire. Resistance is futile and will only result in unnecessary casualties. You have 1 Earth hour to surrender and begin the integration process." Duha straightened his uniform and stepped forward. As the commanding officer of humanity's most advanced space station, protocol dictated that he should respond. But before he could, a message from Earth Command flashed across his private screen. He read it and couldn't help but smile. "High Commander," Duha replied, his voice steady and clear. "I am Captain Duha Kim of the Earth Space Force. I am authorized to deliver humanity's response to your demand." He paused for a moment, then continued, "We respectfully decline." Rayan's expression shifted to what might have been amusement. "You don't seem to understand your situation, Captain. Our smallest ship could reduce your largest city to ash. We have conquered 1,000 worlds. Your species has barely left its cradle." "Perhaps," Duha answered, still smiling slightly. "But you might find that humanity's cradle is better defended than you expect. We suggest you reconsider your approach. Earth welcomes peaceful contact with alien civilizations, but we do not bow to threats." The alien commander's eyes narrowed. "You would risk the total destruction of your world rather than accept our generous offer of integration." "High Commander," Duha said, his smile fading, "you should know that humanity has a long history of facing impossible odds. And we're still here. If you choose war, remember, you chose it, not us." The transmission cut off abruptly. Duha turned to his crew, who looked both terrified and determined. "Send word to Earth Command," he ordered. "Tell them First Contact Protocol 7 is in effect. And," he paused, looking at the massive alien fleet through the station's viewport, "tell them to activate the Sentinel Defense Network. If they want Earth, they'd better bring their best." The next hour would determine the fate of humanity. But as Duha watched his crew prepare for what might be the biggest fight in human history, he knew one thing for certain: Earth wouldn't go down without one hell of a fight. The alien fleet hung in space like a swarm of metal stars. High Commander Rayan had sent 20 of his fastest scout ships toward Earth. He was sure these ships would easily break through Earth's defenses. After all, they had never failed before. Major Sunwoo watched the alien scouts approach from his command chair on the ESS Thunder, Earth's newest space battleship. He had trained for years for this moment, though he never really believed he would fight actual aliens. "All ships report ready, Major," his communications officer said. Sun Wu nodded, his face calm despite the tension in the air. Earth had only 12 ships in this defense squadron, but they had a secret weapon. "Remember your training," Sun Wu said to his crew. "And remember, they don't know what we can do yet." The alien scouts moved fast, their engines leaving trails of blue fire in the darkness of space. They flew in perfect formation, showing off their superior technology. But Sun Wu just smiled. "Activate quantum weapons," he ordered. This was humanity's trump card, weapons that used quantum entanglement to hit their targets instantly, no matter how fast they moved. The alien ships started their attack run. Their energy weapons lit up space with bright purple beams. But Earth's ships were ready. Special shields absorbed the attacks, while the quantum weapons fired back. The first alien ship exploded in a flash of light, then another and another. The perfect formation broke apart as the alien scouts tried to dodge weapons they couldn't understand. "They can't predict where our shots will hit," Sun Wu explained to his crew. "Their computers can't track quantum-entangled particles. That's our advantage." Back on his command ship, Ray Yin watched in shock as 8 of his scout ships exploded. These humans weren't supposed to have such advanced weapons. His best scouts were being destroyed by ships that looked primitive in comparison. "Retreat," Ray Yin ordered through the command channel. "All scout ships, return at once." The remaining scouts turned around, but Earth's ships didn't stop firing. By the time they escaped, only 12 alien scouts made it back to their fleet. 8 of their best ships were now floating debris in space. Admiral G1 Park received the battle report in her underground command center on Earth. She read it twice, making sure she understood everything. Then she pressed a button on her desk. "Activate all defense stations," she ordered. "The real fight is about to begin. They won't underestimate us again." All around Earth, hidden defense platforms powered up. Weapon stations on the moon revealed themselves. Satellites that looked normal transformed into battle stations. Earth had been preparing for this day for years. Ray Yin paced in his command room, angry and confused. "How?" he demanded. "How did they defeat our best scout ships?" His science officer studied the battle data. "Sir, they're using technology we've never seen before. These humans, they developed their weapons in a completely different way than we did." "It doesn't matter," Ray Yin said, his voice hard. "No primitive species has ever resisted the Concordat. Prepare the main fleet. We will show them what real power looks like." But on Earth, Admiral Park smiled as she watched the defense network come online. Humanity had hidden its true strength for years, developing weapons and defenses in secret. They knew someday aliens might come, and they had prepared well. "Let them come," she said quietly. "We're ready for them." The next battle would be much bigger. But now both sides knew one thing. This war wouldn't be as simple as anyone thought. Humanity had shown its first card, and it was stronger than anyone expected. The sky over Earth turned bright with fire as the Concordat launched their invasion. Hundreds of alien dropships pushed through the atmosphere, their hulls glowing red-hot. On the ground, Colonel Ta Sung watched them approach through his command center's windows. "All defense units, take your positions," he ordered into his comm system. His voice was steady, showing no fear. "Remember your training. We've prepared for this." The alien ships landed in open fields and city outskirts around the world. Their doors opened, and armored soldiers marched out. They stood nearly 8 feet tall, carrying weapons that glowed with strange energy. But Earth was ready. Hidden bunkers opened in the ground. Camouflaged positions revealed themselves. Earth's soldiers emerged wearing their new battle suits, powered by technology that had been kept secret for years. "Let them come closer," Tai Sung told his troops. "Wait for my signal." The alien soldiers advanced with confidence. They had done this 1,000 times on other worlds. Their armor could stop any normal weapon. Their sensors could detect any normal hiding place, but Earth's defenses weren't normal. Now, Ta Sung commanded. The ground erupted with activity. Soldiers in nanite-enhanced armor jumped out. Their suits let them move faster and hit harder than any normal human could. Special weapons fired shots that could pierce alien armor. The aliens stumbled back, surprised by the strength of Earth's response. They had expected easy targets. Instead, they found warriors who could match them in combat. Squad 3, move to their left flank, Tai Sung ordered. Squad 7, take the right. Don't let them regroup. Earth's soldiers moved like they had trained for years. They used buildings and trees for cover. They appeared and disappeared like ghosts. The alien troops couldn't predict where the next attack would come from. In his command ship above, Ray Yin watched in growing anger. His ground forces were losing badly. These humans fought like no species they had ever encountered. Send in the heavy weapons, he ordered. Crush their resistance. Giant war machines dropped from the sky. They'd walked on 4 legs and carried massive guns. The aliens were sure these would turn the tide of battle. But Tai Sung smiled when he saw them. Time for our secret weapon, he said. Launch the drone swarms. Thousands of tiny drones filled the air. They looked like insects made of metal. The alien machines tried to shoot them down, but there were too many. The drones attached themselves to the war machines and began to shut them down. Our tech might look simple, Tai Sung said to his officers, but we learned long ago that bigger isn't always better. By the end of the day, the invasion force was in retreat. The aliens had lost almost half their ground troops and most of their war machines. They pulled back to their ships, leaving behind broken equipment and wounded soldiers. Impossible, Ray Yin said as he read the battle reports. How can they be this prepared, this strong? On Earth, Tai Sung walked through the battlefield, checking on his troops. Earth's soldiers were tired but proud. They had faced the best the Concordat could send, and they had won. Good work, everyone, he said over the comm. But stay alert. This was just the first wave. They'll be back, and next time they'll be angry. His soldiers nodded, already preparing for the next fight. They had surprised the aliens today, shown them that Earth wasn't an easy target. But everyone knew this was just the beginning. The real war was about to start. High Commander Ray Yin made the call he never wanted to make. For the first time in 3,000 years, the Concordat had to use their ultimate warriors, the Stellar Guard. Send in the elite units, he ordered. His voice was heavy with anger. Show these humans what real power looks like. Space Commander Yu Jin watched from her bridge as new ships arrived. They were black as space itself, moving so fast they were hard to see. These were the famous Stellar Guard ships that had never lost a battle. All ships, battle positions, Yu Jin said to her fleet. She touched the neural link on her head that connected her to her ship's eye. Let's show them what humans can really do. The battle started with incredible speed. The Stellar Guard ships moved like dancers, firing weapons that could cut through normal shields like paper. But Earth's ships were ready. Activate AI combat systems, Yu Jin ordered. Her ship's computer merged with her thoughts, letting her react at impossible speeds. All around her, other human commanders did the same. The space around Earth lit up with explosions and energy beams. The Stellar Guard was amazing, but they had never faced ships controlled by both humans and AI working together. They're fast, Yu Jin said to her crew, but we can think faster. Push them toward the moon. Earth's ships moved as one, hurting the enemy ships exactly where they wanted them. The Stellar Guard didn't realize they were being trapped until it was too late. Hidden bases on the moon opened fire. Special missiles that could track quantum signals shot out from hidden launchers. The Stellar Guard found themselves caught between Earth's fleet and the moon's defenses. Impossible. The Stellar Guard commander shouted as his ship started exploding. No one has ever beaten us in space combat. There's a first time for everything, Yu Jin replied over the open channel. Her ships pressed the attack, moving closer to fight the enemy ships face to face. The Stellar Guard tried to use their famous close combat moves, but in close quarters, humanity's eye-assisted reflexes proved even better. Earth's ships danced between enemy shots and struck back with perfect accuracy. Rai-Yin watched in horror as his best warriors started to fall. Ship after ship exploded. The undefeated Stellar Guard was losing badly. "Pull them back," he ordered. "Get them out of there." But Yu Jin wouldn't let them escape easily. Her fleet chased the retreating ships, destroying more of them. When the battle ended, half of the Stellar Guard fleet was gone. "Push past lunar orbit," Yu Jin commanded. "It's our turn to take the fight to them." Earth's ships moved past the moon for the first time, advancing toward the main alien fleet. Rai-Yin saw them coming and felt real fear for the first time. How? He asked no one in particular. How did they defeat our best warriors? In her ship, Yu Jin smiled as they advanced. "Send word to Earth Command," she said. "Tell them the Stellar Guard is beaten. We're ready for the next phase." The crew cheered. They had just defeated the best warriors in the galaxy, but everyone knew the war was far from over. The Concordat still had many ships left, and they would be desperate now. "They'll use their planet-killer weapons next," Yu Jin said quietly. "But we're ready for that too. They have no idea what else we've been hiding." Her fleet formed up, ready to push deeper into space. The humans weren't just defending anymore. They were taking the fight to the enemy. And they had more surprises waiting. High Commander Rai-Yin stood on his bridge, his face dark with rage. "Launch the planet killers," he ordered. "If we can't have Earth, no one will." 5 massive ships moved forward from the alien fleet. They carried weapons that could crack planets open. Every world that saw these ships had surrendered immediately. None had ever dared to fight back. Dr. Min Seo watched the planet-killer ships approach from her lab deep under the Korean mountains. Screens showed her their every move. She had been waiting for this moment. "They're exactly like the ones in the crashed ship we found 10 years ago," she said to her team. "Start the quantum shield now." All around Earth, hidden towers rose from the ground and sea. They had been built in secret, using technology from an alien ship that had crashed years ago. Min Seo had spent a decade studying it, learning its secrets. The planet-killer ships fired their weapons. Huge beams of energy shot toward Earth, powerful enough to destroy continents. Rai-Yin waited to see Earth crack apart. But something amazing happened instead. A blue shield appeared around Earth. The deadly beams hit it and bounced away into space. The planet-killer weapons, feared across the galaxy, had failed. "How?" Rai-Yin shouted. "Nothing can stop those weapons." Min Seo spoke to him through an open channel. "We found one of your crashed ships years ago," she explained. "We learned how your weapons work. Then we built something better." In orbit, Commander Yu Jin gave the order they had all been waiting for. "Launch Operation Thunderstrike." Earth's fleet suddenly jumped forward at impossible speeds. They had copied the alien ships faster than light drive and improved it. Now they could jump right next to enemy ships before they could react. "Target their flagship," Yu Jin ordered. "Show them what happens when they threaten Earth." Rai-Yin watched in horror as Earth's ships appeared all around his fleet. Their weapons fired from point-blank range. Even his best shields couldn't stop them. "Take down their command ship," Min Seo called from Earth. She had helped design these weapons too. They used the aliens' own technology against them. The flagship's shields failed. Its engines died. The mighty ship that had led the Concordat to 1,000 victories started to fall apart. "Impossible," Rai-Yin whispered as his ship broke around him. "They were supposed to be primitive." "We're not primitive," Min Seo replied. "We just let you think we were. We've been preparing for this day for 10 years. The flagship exploded in a huge ball of light. Rai-Yin barely escaped in a small ship, watching his mighty fleet fall into chaos. Without their leadership, the alien forces started to retreat. On Earth, people cheered as they watched the planet killers turn away. Humanity hadn't just survived, they had won a major victory. Send the message to all alien ships, Min Seo said. Tell them what we learned from their crashed ship. Tell them how many of their secrets we know. The message went out. Alien captains received the proof that humans had mastered their technology. Some started to question why they were fighting at all. The war isn't over, Yu Jin said from her ship. But today we showed them something important. Earth isn't just another target. We're their worst nightmare. Min Seo nodded as she looked at her screens. More alien ships were turning away. The mighty Concordat had finally met someone they couldn't beat. They'll be back, she said. But next time, they'll know better than to underestimate us. Rai Yin called every ship the Concordat had. 10,000 warships jumped into space near Earth. It was the largest fleet ever gathered in the galaxy's history. This ends now, he said to his commanders. We will not be humiliated by these humans any longer. But Captain Du Kim had a different plan. While the alien fleet gathered, he flew his ship toward them under a peace flag. His small vessel carried no weapons. This is Captain Du Kim of Earth, he broadcast to all ships. Before you attack, there's something you should know. On his ship's computers, Dr. Min Seo's team worked quickly. They had found a way into the alien fleet's communication network. As Duha spoke, they sent data to every ship. We don't want to destroy you, Duha said. We just want to live free. Look at the files we're sending you. See what your leaders have been hiding. The files showed the truth about the Concordat, how they kept alien worlds poor while their leaders got rich, how they lied to their own people, how many worlds wanted to be free. He's hacking our systems, Rai Yin shouted. Stop him. But it was too late. The truth spread through the fleet like fire. Ship captains saw proof of everything they had suspected for years. The humans aren't our enemy, one alien captain said over the open channel. Our real enemies are the ones who've been lying to us. More ships began to speak up. Many had worlds of their own they wanted to protect. They were tired of fighting the Concordat's wars. Join us, Duha offered. Earth will help you protect your homeworlds. We can all be free together. Rai Yin watched in horror as ships began to leave his fleet. First a few, then hundreds, then thousands. They moved to Earth's side of space, turning their weapons toward the Concordat. You're all traitors, Rai Yin screamed. I'll destroy you all. But now his fleet was much smaller, and the ships that switched sides knew all his tactics. Commander Yu Jin's voice came over all channels. Last chance, Rai Yin. Surrender, or face all of us together. Rai Yin looked at his screen. More than half his fleet had joined the humans. Earth's ships were powered up and ready, and now he knew why humans had fought so hard. They weren't just fighting for themselves. They were fighting for freedom, for the right to live their own way. That made them stronger than any weapon. Rai Yin's voice shook. I surrender. Cheers broke out on ships across space. After thousands of years, the Concordat's power was broken, and it had happened without a final battle. Send word to Earth, Duha said to his crew. Tell them the war is over, and tell them to prepare for visitors. We have a lot of new friends to welcome. The alien ships that joined Earth moved closer, their crews excited to meet the humans who had done the impossible. They had beaten the Concordat not just with weapons, but with truth and courage. What happens now? Someone asked Duha. He smiled as he looked at the mix of Earth and alien ships working together. Now we build something new, something better than an empire, a true alliance of free worlds. Space around Earth was filled with ships, but now they weren't enemies. They were the beginning of a new future, one that would change the galaxy forever. And it all started because humanity refused to bow down. 1 month after the surrender, the Great Hall of the United Nations in New York was filled with beings from across the galaxy. Captain Du Kim stood at the podium, looking at the amazing sight before him. Aliens of all shapes and sizes sat next to human leaders. Former Concordat officers talked with Earth commanders. Even Rai Yin was there, no longer looking proud but trying to understand how everything had changed so fast. Today we create something new, Duha said to the crowd. Not an empire built on fear, but an alliance built on freedom. Dr. Min Seo presented the first draft of the new alliance treaty on the big screen. It was simple but powerful. All worlds would be free to rule themselves, but would help each other when needed. Earth will share its technology with all member worlds, she explained, and we'll learn from you too. Together, we'll be stronger than any empire. Commander Yu Jin stood up next. The Terran Defense Alliance will protect all member worlds, she said. No one will ever be forced to join an empire again. Many alien leaders nodded. They had seen how Earth fought to stay free. Now they wanted that same freedom for their own worlds. But what about the Concordat worlds that didn't join us? Someone asked. Duha smiled. We've already started helping them. When their people see how well free worlds work together, they'll want to join too. Not because we forced them, but because they choose to. Rai Yin watched all this from his seat. He finally understood why Earth had won. The humans hadn't just fought harder. They had fought for something better than power. I was wrong about humans, he said, standing up. I thought being primitive meant being weak. But you showed us a strength we never knew existed. The hall went quiet as Rai Yin walked to the front. He faced Duha and bowed deeply. The Concordat is finished, Rai Yin announced. Let its worlds join your alliance, if you'll have them. We have much to learn from Earth. The room burst into cheers. Hundreds of worlds joined the alliance that day. Earth went from being a single defended planet to the heart of the largest free alliance in galaxy history. Later that evening, Duha stood with his friends on the building's roof, looking at the stars. Hannah Lee, Sun Wu, Tai Sung, and Min Seo joined him. Did you ever think this would happen? Hannah asked, watching alien ships peacefully flying over New York. Not exactly, Duha admitted. We just wanted to stay free. But I guess freedom is something everyone wants, once they see it's possible. Min Seo pointed to a bright light moving across the sky. That's the first joint human-alien science ship, she said excitedly. Think of all the things we'll learn together. And all the places we'll go, Sun Wu added. The galaxy's open to us now. Tai Sung laughed, and all because some aliens thought we'd be an easy target. They all smiled at that. Earth had proved it was anything but easy to conquer. And now, because they stood strong, the whole galaxy was changing for the better. What's next? Hannah asked. Duha looked up at the stars, shining bright in the night sky. Now we do what humans have always done, he said. We explore, we learn, we grow. But this time, we're not alone. The future was bright with possibility. Humanity had not only survived its first galactic war, it had helped create something new and wonderful in the process. And it all started because someone thought Earth would be easy to conquer. They really should have known better.